Hey everybody, welcome back to the homestead.
So good to be with you here today. Lots of you are already here. We're so happy to have you here.
Gosh, it was a gorgeous day today here. It was like the high was about 75. It was just a really nice day.
We have people here from like all over the place already. So make sure you let us know where you're watching from. We've had people from all over the world, lots of people from Missouri already today. And that is so fun. Hey guys, thanks so much for popping in. So today, like last time, we want to thank Rich and Shelly McGlamory from Air to Ground Farms. They're going to be helping us today. Rich is going to be feeding us questions, which will be fantastic, and just kind of overall helping us with the production of this. Shelly is with us today too. She is going to help moderate. We want you guys to continue praying for Shelly. Last week, she injured her knee pretty significantly. And, she is a big part of their farm. They have a lot going on over there, and she could surely use your prayers.
Yeah. And you guys, if you are looking for some of the best farm-raised meat in the Missouri Ozarks, Air to Ground Meats just opened in Ava, Missouri. That's Rich and Shelly's store. So if you're ever in the area, stop in there and say hi to them and get some awesome farm-raised meat. We also have our son-in-law, Gavin, who is going to be helping to moderate questions today or moderate comments today.
Yes.
So he's already here. And if anybody is looking to move to the Ozarks, Gavin's a realtor here in the area. So if you are looking for a good realtor, Gavin's your guy. His information is actually on our website if you want to check that out.
Yeah. We also want to pray today. I'm going to ask Kevin to pray while we're all here. Pray for those affected by Hurricane Helene, those in the path of Hurricane Milton, and for Israel. Today is the 1-year anniversary of their attack by Hamas. So if we can just all take a second, Kevin's going to pray.
All right. Father, thank you so much for blessing us all so much. Father, you are just so good to us. We know that you are with all of those that have been affected by the current hurricanes here in our country and those in Israel and around the world who are being affected by war. Father, just look over them, keep them safe, and show them your love. We hope that we can spread your love throughout this world, and we hope that we can be a blessing to those around us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. On the same lines with that, guys, we want to encourage you all, if you are financially able to make a donation to help what's going on with Hurricane Helene, we would like to suggest that you make a donation to Samaritan's Purse. They are one of the nonprofit organizations that have been there from the very beginning, helping to bring supplies, helping people out in every way that they can. Here is how you can donate to there.
Right.
You can go to SamaritansPurse.org.
Right. Yeah. It's an organization founded by Franklin Graham. And actually, any super chats that we get tonight, we are going to be donating 100% of that to Samaritan's Purse. And we will personally match up to $500 in matching to that to Samaritan's Purse as well. So it's an organization that we give to as a church as well.
Yes.
We know it's a good organization, and we feel that they're doing great work with all of the people who are affected by the hurricanes. So we would appreciate you guys giving if you can. If not, remember that prayers are the most important thing that we can do.
Absolutely. So today we decided that we have a particular topic that we want to be talking about. And after we're done talking, we are going to field your questions. We're going to do a Q&A afterwards. Maybe you'll have a lot of questions about what we're talking about. But whatever those questions are, we're gonna field those questions. So why don't you go ahead and start talking about this?
So we've decided that when we get into fall time like this, a lot of times it's a time when we start to think things are winding up. But the truth is there's a lot that we can do in the fall, and fall for us is always a busy time of year because we start to already look forward to the following spring, and we start to make plans now for what we can do now, so that in spring we're better positioned for a great summer coming up ahead. So that's kind of the things that we're going to talk about today. With everything that's going on in the world, we feel like there are things happening that we all need to be a little more prepared for. If nothing happens at all, then we're all just a little more prepared anyway, and we can all be a little more self-sufficient. So I think it's a win-win no matter how things work out.
Right. And I think sometimes when we're thinking about how can we become more self-sufficient, how can we become a little bit more prepared, we think like, oh, all this is so long-term. There's not anything that I can do now that's really going to help me quickly. So we have identified some things that you guys can work on this fall that can benefit you already by spring. So we've come up with a list of things to talk about and to share with you guys that you can start doing this fall, and you can really maximize your time this fall so that by spring, some of these things are already helping you become more self-sufficient. The first of those, did you have something to say before we?
No, let's jump right in.
Okay. The first thing that we think is critical this fall for you guys. Thank you to Chicago Bob. I don't want to continue like interrupting everything that we're saying, but we do have people coming through with super chats.
Right.
And we are so happy and blessed by you guys for doing that. Thank you so much, Chicago Bob.
I think what we'll do going forward is trying to get to all the super chats in between topics that we're talking about.
Okay.
But I saw this one come through and we had to say thank you. And again, that will be donated to Samaritan's Purse.
Yep. And
we'll be matching that as well.
Exactly. Okay. So like I was saying, the first thing that we suggest that you do this fall is take advantage of the fact that our vegetables in the gardens and stuff are starting to wind down, which means it's a perfect time to be harvesting seeds from them. So seed saving is a really great thing that you can do this fall that will help you next spring in planting.
Right. And really, regardless of what the seeds are, it's probably a good idea right now to start preparing and saving seeds. We've done several videos over the last 6 to 8 weeks on seed saving. I did one where I showed you guys how you can save seeds that will last for up to 10 years. And then Sarah did a couple seed saving ones as well out in the greenhouse. So check those out if you haven't seen them. But even if your plants right now are in less than ideal situations, like you didn't have them isolated and you didn't have, the perfect varieties or whatever, go ahead and save some seeds from them because, the year that COVID hit and all of that, it was a hard time finding seeds that year. And if another big event is going to happen coming up, I think we'll all be better off if we've saved our own seeds, even if they're not exactly the varieties we would want. Something is better than nothing.
Right. A cross-pollinated pepper is better than no pepper at all.
Right.
And we do a lot of seed saving here on the homestead. Even though we sell plant starts, let me back up, but that didn't come out right. Okay. So we save our own seeds. Basically for if we need them for emergency, but we do still buy quite a bit of seeds because we do a lot of seed starting to sell those plant starts. And we want to make sure that those plants are exactly what we say the label is. We don't want them to be cross-pollinated. So even though we still buy a lot of seeds, we do save a lot of seeds.
Right. Yeah.
Now, in some of our seed saving videos, we talk a lot about a book that we use to learn how to save seeds. And we want to share that with you guys. It is called Seed to Seed.
Right.
And this is very informative and very thorough.
Right. Yeah, it's a book. Actually, several years ago, we grew seeds for a local seed company. And they recommended this book to us because it gives a ton of detailed information. So we bought this book then, and you guys, we've used it. We've got writing all over our copy of it. It is priceless because it tells you exactly step by step how to save the seeds from like a ton of different plants. It tells you how far apart you should grow the plants so that they can't cross pollinate. It's just a wealth of information. So You can pick that up on Amazon. I think it's less than $20. So it's a really good book to have.
Right. Absolutely.
We have a link to it in our Amazon shop if you want to check that out.
Right. The next thing that we suggest you do if you're wanting to prepare for spring is to plant bare root berry plants this year.
Right. Okay.
And I specifically say berries because ever-bearing raspberry plants, if you plant them in the fall, you will get a harvest already next fall.
Right.
The same with strawberries. If you plant bare root strawberries this fall, you'll get your first crop next year. They'll have an opportunity. If you plant them soon, they'll have an opportunity to establish their root systems already. And so next year, you'll get your first crop. And so that's so fast.
Right.
I mean, there are lots of other things you could plant bare root, orchard trees and blackberries, but they take longer to produce. So that's why we're just suggesting those two things specifically.
Right. And we've worked with Stark Brothers. They're a Missouri-based company, but they ship all over the country.
Mm-hmm.
That's honestly where we've bought all of our trees and berry plants and everything. Even when we lived in Arizona, we always bought from Stark Brothers, mainly because they have such a good guarantee. They have a 1-year guarantee on all of their plants. Even if it's your fault that they die, you put it in the ground, you forgot to water it for an entire year. They don't ask. They just send you a replacement for an entire year. So that's awesome.
Right. Another thing that you can plant this fall that you can harvest already in the spring or early summer is garlic. This is a big time to order your garlic and plant your garlic. We actually highly recommend MI Gardener. I saw on their website today that they just got their second batch of garlic seed in. And so you can check them out. We do have a link to them, but they actually aren't offering discount codes right now to creators. But we do highly recommend their company.
Right. So let's take a look here real quick at some super chats.
Oh yeah, I got busy talking and we were supposed to do it in between. Why didn't you be like lady? Right.
So Mary Hillerman, thank you so much for a $100 super chat. Again, that'll be going straight to Samaritan's Purse.
Yes.
Who else do we have here? Irene S., thank you so much for a $20 super chat. Teresa B., 10 something.
I am so not cultured.
All right, we'll need to figure out the exchange rate on that.
Thank you. $10 in whatever currency that is. We appreciate it.
Right, yeah. Thank you so much. And again, it'll be going straight to Samaritan's Purse.
Yes.
And then finally we have Phil Stocks, $100. Thank you so much. I know that it's going to be used very wisely by the folks at Samaritan's Purse. So thank you so much for that.
Yes, and praise God for all of you who are able to donate. We really appreciate that, and we know that your money will go to good use.
Right. And again, if you can't, don't feel bad about that. God loves prayers, and he answers them to those who are faithful to him. So praying is something that we can all do. Doesn't cost us anything, but it sure does have a lot of power.
Right. The next thing on our list, you can go ahead and talk about.
All right. So the next thing is actually really easy to do this time of year, and that is kind of stock up on the closeout items at the big box stores. This time of year, especially places like Walmart and stuff, they want to make room for Christmas decorations, and they're clearing out all of their gardening supplies. So you can get things like seed starting trays, seed starting mix. We were at our local Walmart today, and I noticed that they had a ton of organic fertilizer left. So, that kind of stuff right now can be pretty well discounted. Mm-hmm. And if you store it right, it's going to be just fine for you next spring, and you'll have a jump up, especially if there are any supply shortages next spring, you'll already have it in place.
One thing that we stocked up on was the composted like mushroom compost and some manures and things like that, so that when we are ready to amend our raised beds, we have all of that already. We don't have to wait around for the big box stores and stuff to get that stuff in.
Yeah, because in our area, at least, they don't get it right away in the spring. Like we would want it earlier than they get it. So we always try to get that stuff in the fall. First of all, a lot of times they're running good deals on it in the fall. We picked it up at Menards. We actually got a pallet of of compost and manure,
Right.
and that we'll use that to amend all of our beds once we pull all of our plants out at the end of the summer.
Right.
We're about a week away from our first frost, so I don't think we have much left in gardening season.
Right.
It's going to be done pretty soon.
Right. Some other things that you can do now to help you by spring. I suggest if you need any or want more layer chickens, if you get them now, you'll be able to raise them. Say it's October, they'll be laying by April.
Right.
So it's a good time now to start getting your chicks. It's still a little bit warm, depends on where you're at. Like
Right.
it's still a little bit warm. It's not going to be too hard to keep them warm until they're fully feathered. And once spring comes, you will be into the eggs
Right.
like nobody's business.
Right.
So
Yeah. A young batch of chickens that just start laying in the spring are going to produce a ton of eggs.
Yeah. I had a slide about that. So I want to show you my slide.
So Cackle Hatchery is close to us here, so we go there quite often when we do need layer chicks. Obviously now we're raising the American breast, and I don't think they sell them, but they do have a good variety, and they do ship everywhere as well, but they're only about an hour from us, so we do highly recommend them. Next thing is rabbits. It's another thing kind of like chickens. If you can get young rabbits now, by spring they will be ready to start breeding. Or if you can get breeding age rabbits now, you still have time right now to breed them and let them have at least one litter before it gets super, super cold. So that is something we recommend. We told you recently that we're going to be bringing rabbits back onto the homestead. And that's in the plans here really, really quickly.
The next thing that we suggest is really anything outside that needs to be done. We're coming into a cool time of year. Summer, yes. It's super hard to do any projects outside.
No, we're so busy with gardening in the summer. It's hard to just take time away to do bigger projects. But this time of year, there's a lot more time.
Right. And in the winter, it's hard, well, here anyway, and in a lot of parts of the country, because it's just so cold, it's hard to work and do outside projects. So now is the time to do the things that you're going to need to do to be successful in the spring, like build hoop coops for those layer chicks.
Right.
That you're going to get so that they lay by spring. So do all your outside projects in preparation for next spring so you can hit the ground running and be more self-sufficient in the spring.
Should we take some more super chats?
Sure. Go ahead.
All right. So we've got, let's see. Sherry Johnson, thank you so much for $20. Again, it's going to be put to great use. I know it. We have Thankful K for another $20 super sticker. Thank you. And then Mary, I don't have my readers on. Grot. Mary Grot, $15. See, I'm at that age where I either need to be like way back here or like way up there. So that's just where we're at now. That's what happens when you get to be almost 50, I guess.
This is also a great time, you guys, to if you're going to add on to your garden coming up, or if you're going to add blueberries, any kind of berries, is to lay down your weed fabric now.
Right, start killing out the grass.
Yeah, if you want to kill out grass and stuff in an area, if you're not going to use weed fabric, but you want to kill everything out, now is a good time to put down a silage tarp.
Right.
Yeah, so that it's ready in the spring once you're ready to
leave it
break
down all winter
or whatever. Mm-hmm. And let's see, the last thing I think we had said is to now's a great time to amend your beds with any compost or manure, so it has a time to kind of incorporate into your soil.
Right. Whenever you pull your plants out of your garden, it's a great time to just do it, right away, and start amending so that by spring, if there is anything like say you're putting fresh compost in or manure or anything like that, it can sit all winter and it won't be hot anymore by spring. You've seen us make that mistake in the past. So learn from our mistakes and do all of that as far ahead as you can.
Yeah. Okay.
So those are kind of our tips. Those are the things, honestly, that we are going to be working on over the next few weeks to get things ready before winter gets here, along with other things like getting firewood ready and, getting this time of year, we always collect a ton of pine cones and things like that for fire starters. So we heat with wood, and that adds an extra level of work, but it also saves a ton of money over the winter. So that's always important to us.
We do want to hear from you guys. Do you have more ideas about how to be prepared for spring, or get prepared by spring?
Right.
We want to see your comments.
Yeah, put some of those in the comments. We'll have Rich
Ideas.
put some of them up on the screen so that we can talk about them. But I know our list is not complete, that's for sure.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Let's take some questions here.
Okay. Let's see here. From Tammy Handy. Sarah, you do an awesome job with your canning videos. Thank you. I've used some of your techniques. You guys are awesome. Thank you.
Not a question, but thank you.
Yeah,
we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Let's see. Can we get an update on your compost pile in Wattlesville? Well, it didn't go as planned. I'll just be honest. We had Bermuda grass invade it, and it got so overgrown with Bermuda grass, and I tried to get out there and flip it as much as I could, but you guys, that Bermuda grass is just terrible.
It's from the devil.
It is. So I ended up moving the compost pile into another area. We may end up using it to make compost tea, but I don't feel comfortable like just adding it to the beds, because I know it's going to fill our beds with Bermuda grass, and that stuff is impossible to get rid of. So we may use it for compost tea. If we would have had that in an area where, and this was our own fault, so we put it in an area where in the winter we allow our chickens to get to, but they're not there in the summer. I think if we would have had it in an area where the chickens could get to it year round, they would have kept it scratched up enough to keep it turning over. But it was our own mistake to have it in a spot where the chickens just couldn't keep up with it. And, we didn't either because we just got busy. So
another question here. Do you make your own yogurt? And thank you for praying. We appreciate that. Yes, we do make our own yogurt. We make Greek yogurt. I actually I think this spring I did a Greek yogurt video.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I eat a lot of yogurt.
He eats a lot of yogurt.
I eat yogurt every day. Yogurt and blueberries. And see, I like variety. So every day I either have yogurt, blueberries, and walnuts, or yogurt, blueberries, and pecans.
That's variety.
It is. Every day I switch it up.
Oh my gosh. You are a creature of habit.
I am a creature of habit. I could eat the same thing, and sometimes I do. The kids even make fun of me because I'll eat the same thing like every day for 6 months, and then I won't eat it again for a year. But
you've always been like that.
I have.
You've always been like that. Okay. Let me see. Where are you storing your canning? I didn't see a pantry when you gave your new house tour.
Well, we don't show everything,
right?
And there are reasons for some of that, for security reasons and other things. So we do have a pantry. We will tell you that. We don't do tours of that type of stuff. But honestly, we store our canned goods under beds, really wherever there is spare room. Which now that Grace is married and moved out, we have some extra room, and now that Samantha has gone to college, we have a little extra room there too. Although she's home on the weekends, but so. Yes, we put canned goods everywhere. In fact, when people come over to our house, one of the things we often get comments on is there's food everywhere.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. I'll let you address this one.
What type of plant food did you add to the Hanson's compost to make it work? I'm in Clever, Missouri. So we did a video about this. I didn't talk about brands or anything like that. So we wanted to stick to organic because obviously it's the best, but after doing a lot of research, we realized that none of the organic fertilizers that we could have added this year would have immediately helped our plants, and our entire garden was dying. So we ended up going with a 20-20-20 liquid fertilizer that was not organic, because we needed something to save our garden. Now we also mixed in organic fertilizer that is starting to break down and making that better. And from here on out, we will go back to only using organic fertilizer. We've already got plans for next year to get that in early. And so, but it is, this year we had to go with something that was not organic, which we know is not ideal, but we couldn't lose our entire garden. It's just too important. So we ended up using a 20-20-20 water soluble fertilizer because that is like fast acting and just was able to save the garden. So we didn't have to do it a ton, but we had to do it when we originally, when all of our plants were dying, we had to save them. And then, over time, the organic stuff was starting to kick in. So we know going forward in future years, the organic's going to be great.
Are these new?
No, those two we already did.
Okay. Okay, another question from Savvy Dirt Farmer. Thank you for your question. What is your number one tip for aspiring homesteaders who haven't yet taken their first step but are dreaming of doing so? I have two.
Okay.
The first one is learn as many skills as you can while you're wherever you're at right now.
Right.
Like wherever you're at right now, learn as much as you can while you're waiting for your forever homestead.
Right.
The other tip or piece of advice I think we would both say is to try to become as debt-free as possible,
Right.
because that will really take the heat off and the stress off when you get to your homestead property, especially if you're wanting to make a living solely on your homestead.
Right.
You're really going to set yourself up for success if you are as debt-free as possible.
Right. Yeah. We've done videos, when we first started about how we became debt-free. We used the Dave Ramsey method of becoming debt-free way back, 13, 14 years ago, and have been able to stay debt-free ever since. And it really does make a big difference. So though I would agree with both of those. We started in just a tiny backyard in Gilbert, Arizona, and you can get pretty crazy even in a small area. Heck, if you live in an apartment, get some quail. You can raise quail in the house. I mean, they're kind of stinky and you'll have to change them pretty often, but you can do it. Or start gardening in pots on your balcony or whatever you can do. There are ways to get skills even if you don't have any land.
Yeah. Kimberly Parisi. Do you cover your tubs in the greenhouse with cardboard? We have 4x8 foot raised beds in the greenhouse and heard you should cover them to preserve the dirt.
Like over winter, I'm assuming that's
or
what she's
maybe when
asking.
they're not in use.
When they're not in use. We grow in our greenhouse year round. We have. So we haven't covered them. Our raised beds out in the garden area, last year we covered with pieces of the landscape fabric over winter so that seeds wouldn't blow in there during the springtime before we could plant. I would agree that covering them is a good idea, whether it's with cardboard or landscape fabric or whatever. We like the landscape fabric because it would still allow moisture to get through. But yes, I think it does keep your soil better for sure if it's covered. Bare soil is not ideal.
Right. Here's a good one from Chelsea Bonnet. If you're going to use weed fabric for your garden, do you bring it up before winter hits?
When we did in-ground gardening, which we no longer do here on this property because our soil just wasn't good enough for it, we tried to. It was always our intention to pull it up before winter, and so we could amend and let it sit over winter. We didn't always accomplish that because things just get busy and then winter's here. So a lot of times we waited till spring, and as early as we could in the spring, we would pull it up, and then we would amend and everything early in the spring, a month or so before we could plant. But if you can get to it in the fall or early winter, I would suggest you do that. Yes.
Right. But it's not like a big advantage of the soil if you have it up all winter.
No,
it's not
only that you can
required.
amend earlier.
Right. Yes.
Right.
Let's see. Oh, this is kind of along the same lines. How do you amend beds when you have weed fabric down on them?
On them?
Well, on
like
the ground.
in-ground
yeah.
beds. I was thinking raised beds. Okay.
So, I mean, just like basically the question before, basically
right.
there are a couple things you can do. You can take up the weed fabric, amend, and then put it down.
Right.
Or you can, put some rabbit manure or fertilizer or something down in the hole when you plant in the spring.
Right. And there were years we did that, like,
Mhm.
because there were years when we didn't get it pulled up in the fall, and then our springs were just so wet that we
Yeah.
couldn't get out there to pull it up either. And so it was time to plant. And those years, a lot of times what we ended up doing is just amending, like we would, dig the hole to plant. We'd amend the dirt right there with some rabbit manure or whatever, plant, and it almost, I mean, it worked well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not as good as amending the entire bed, but it definitely is better than nothing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, here's a good one for you.
All right. How do you use pine cones for fire starters? Honestly, I just use pine cones. So when I build my fires, I throw like 3 or 4 pine cones into the wood stove, and they light up so fast.
Mhm.
As long as they're dry, they light up so fast, and they burn really hot. And so I don't do anything with them other than just use them. I do have a kindling cutter, which maybe I'll show on a video someday.
Mhm.
And so I put pine cones and some kindling, and then our logs, and it starts right up.
What are some other fire starters that you've used?
So we use, in the past, I've used the cotton balls, either dipped in wax, like when you have old candles, we would always save old candles, melt that down, and then dip cotton balls in. I think I did a video about that a long time ago. Don't judge me based on that video. But those are really good. And actually, I've got a bag of them yet. And I do use them when I run out of pine cones. The other thing you can do is cotton balls dipped in Vaseline works really well. You can just throw a handful of cotton balls into a Ziploc bag, spoon in some Vaseline and kind of mush it all around, and that works perfectly. So lots of different things. Some people dip pine cones in wax, but I really don't think it's necessary. I think they light up really well just on their own.
I think the wax just helps the flame stick around more when you dip them
Yeah,
in there.
sure.
Yeah.
But as long as you got good dry wood, in a good draft on your chimney,
yeah,
we get it going pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Emily G says, do you do cover crops or cover your raised beds? Well, we just mentioned before that we cover the raised beds with weed fabric because, the rain can still get through. We have not done cover crops. We actually don't know a whole lot about using cover crops and then like using them kind of as a green manure. That's just something that we haven't learned much about. And we do understand the benefits of using cover crops, but we just haven't done that yet.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, it's just another thing that we would love to do, but it's just the two of us and we can't do it all, even though we would love to. Yeah. So
here's a question that I've been getting so much lately, and I will answer it, and I'm not super proud of the answer. So how did your Walmart peonies do? Well,
peonies or peonies?
I said peonies. we did a poll in my video. If like where in the United States or actually in the world are you? And do you say peony or do you say peony? And it was about 50-50.
Yeah. Where we grew up in Wisconsin, it was peonies. But here in Missouri, a lot of people say peonies.
Peonies.
So
I say peony. Anyway, so I would say about 50% of what I planted survived and did well. I was able to plant a couple of those, and about 50% of them lived in the ground and 50% of them didn't. And really, all of the plants that I planted in that video, I had intended to do a big, long flower bed on the side of the house. And I had everything prepared. And I burned the first hole in the weed fabric and attempted to dig the first hole in the ground, and the ground was so hard that I couldn't even dig. So I wasn't able to use those plants in the flower bed. I still have some of them in the greenhouse actually that I hope to do something with in the future, but I feel really badly that I wasn't able to use those in the way that I wanted to. And it's just kind of back to the drawing board with that flower bed.
Right.
So more to come. I'm still dreaming about that flower bed.
Let's take a couple more of these real quick.
Okay.
So we've got a $20 super chat from
Tara's
Handmade Gifts, and a $99 $100 from Liz NYP. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yes, we agree that it is a great charity, and
yeah,
I think they. My understanding is that they really put the money to good use.
Yeah.
So.
And just to review, if any of you have jumped on and don't know what we're talking about, we are asking if people are wanting to donate to the situation going on in like North Carolina because
Tennessee.
of, all of that area because of Hurricane Helene, to please donate to Samaritan's Purse, and all of the super chats today and the super stickers, all that money we will be donating to Samaritan's Purse, and we will be doing a dollar for dollar match of up to $500. So all the super chat and super sticker money plus up to $500 more will be going to Samaritan's Purse. So we would love for you to participate in that, and it will be a huge blessing to the people in that area.
Right.
Here's a question specifically for you.
Oh, good. Hi, how are you doing making your own mustards? How about your citrus trees? Okay. Well, I did a video, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, maybe, about the mustard. You'll have to go try to find that. It was during the one where we were pulling plants out of the garden. So the mustard experiment did not go as planned.
Well, the mustard plants were amazing.
The mustard plants, they went bonkers. And I've read that verse in the Bible so many times about the mustard seeds, the faith the size of a mustard seed, and I guess I never really realized how tiny mustard seeds are. So now it's much that verse is much more clear now. So bottom line is, I didn't harvest the seed. The birds ended up getting a lot of the seed. I am going to buy seed. And I'm going to try making my own mustard from seed that I buy from like Azure Standard or somewhere like that. But sitting down and trying to gather all of that seed just ended up, it wasn't going to happen. So I will be making mustard, but I'm not going to be doing it from seed that I grew. Next year, I'm going to grow mustard again because actually I really liked the mustard greens. As far as the citrus trees go, they're doing okay. Last year, I think we picked like 15 tangerines off the tangerine tree. Yeah. And the lemon or the lime tree, it got a bunch of limes, and then we had to repot it because it kind of grew its pot. Yeah. And it dropped everything after that. So it's still kind of recovering. But they're still alive and they're doing well. Yeah. And
we keep them in our kitchen. Actually, under grow lights, my last video that I did where I processed like a gabillion peppers. In one shot, you can see our tangerine tree. So here is a good question. We've never really talked about this from Word Vendor 1. Do you all grow mushrooms at all? I don't think I've seen you grow them, but have you freeze dried morels?
Good. This is all you.
Now, I will preface this by saying I love to go looking for wild mushrooms.
She does. Everywhere we go. She makes me stop and look at mushrooms.
I love to forage. I love to forage so that I can look at them and like take pictures of them because they're so magical and something. I don't know. But you guys, we hate mushrooms.
So we don't like eating mushrooms.
We don't like mushrooms. We don't like mushrooms.
Even morels, like we've given them a fair try at other people's houses that find them. First of all, we've never found any. No. We went like when we first moved here to the Ozarks, we went like every year searching for morels, and we never found a single one. No. But we did try some at other people's houses, and they would tell us how amazing they were, and we both tried them, and it didn't really change our mind. We still didn't really like them. So Sarah knows all about mushrooms and which ones we could eat if we had to. Yeah. And I certainly would eat them if I had to, but it would have to be on a I have to kind of basis. Yeah. Yeah. And we did think about growing mushrooms on mushroom logs at one point as like a business idea. Right. And apparently they do grow really well here in that situation. Right. But we had like 1,000,005 business ideas, and that was one of them, but we didn't do it. So there you go. We don't like mushrooms. Right. See here. Oh, I don't know.
I don't know the answer to this one. Let's just admit that. Dawn C. Suggestions on how to keep rodents out of raised beds, please. We've never really had a problem with rodents.
We haven't. No. Even in our greenhouse, we never really have a problem with rodents.
We had a problem with raccoons.
Right.
Stealing our watermelon seeds right out of the little tiny pots for the farmer's market.
Yeah. Took us forever to figure out what it was because every morning all of the little seeds would be picked out of our little 3-inch pots.
Yeah.
They'd be picked out. We thought it was a bird. We thought it was a rat. Here it was a raccoon every night. I finally put a security camera in there and was able to catch this raccoon going in there to like dig the little seeds out. But as far as rodents, I mean, we don't really have much of a problem.
Groundhogs.
We have groundhogs. Yeah.
We have one right now that we're trying to get rid of.
Right.
But it's super stealth.
Right.
This is probably for you from Hazel
going to do
Bays Honey, David Smith. Are you going to do a smokehouse video?
Well, we don't have a smokehouse.
That'd be fun though.
I know. I would love to build a smokehouse someday. I would say it's on the someday list, but it's not something that we have now. Right now, I just use my Traeger grill, pellet grill smoker, and that's what I have right now. So
here's another one for you. From Midcoast Maniac, funny. Kevin, I relate to your eating habits. Have you made homemade vitamins or other health supplements?
So I did a video just recently about making homemade cayenne capsules. And I showed the machine that we put the cayenne, we freeze dried fresh cayenne peppers, ground them up, put them into capsules. And I do take cayenne quite often. It's really good for digestion. It's also really good for inflammation. And then we also did a video recently showing freeze-dried liver, and we put those in capsules as well, so we can take liver because it's so good for you to eat that organ meat. Especially, we do a low carb kind of keto. We don't do exactly keto because we don't do as much fat as traditional keto. But we do a very low carb, high meat diet, and so we try to get organ meat, but we sprinkle freeze-dried organ meat into our burger and stuff like that, but we also take the capsules. It's just a really good way to get all of that. So yeah, we have made some. I would like to make more, honestly. One thing I've noticed recently that's really weird is that Amazon no longer sells capsule machines. You can buy the empty capsules, but they no longer sell the machines to fill them, which I thought was really strange. But you can find them in other places, I think on eBay or
I think the health food stores sell them.
Yeah, they do. But I just thought it was weird that for some reason Amazon doesn't sell them anymore.
This is an interesting one from the Sentinel. Have you ever thought about raising a buffalo for meat? Well, I don't think really, I honestly don't think that you can raise buffaloes, but you can raise bison, which is the closest thing.
Right.
We have friends that raise bison.
Right.
And they are not easy because they don't tame at all.
Right. They're completely wild animals.
The cows, they get tame a little bit, but bison are super wild, and you need really, really tall fences. I think they have like 7 or 9 foot fencing, and they have like 9 wires, strands of barbed wire.
Yeah.
They're very dangerous. They're very protective of their young. The bulls are very fierce. So while we really like the taste of bison, in fact,
to be honest, we had bison for lunch today.
We had bison sausage
that we got from our friends.
Burgers. It's wonderful.
Right.
But I really don't think that's going to be something that we will do.
No. But it's good to have friends who do, so that we can get some from them.
Yeah. Let's see. Sorry, guys. Looking.
How about this one? Because we do get this question a lot.
Oh, okay.
What kind of microphones do you use, and are they holding up? The ones I have used never last long. We use the Rode. It's called Rode Wireless Pro.
We have them on.
Here, I'll show you. And they have held up really well. We have 2 sets of them so that we can shoot separate videos if we need to, or just on the off chance something does happen. But they are super dependable. They charge right in their case, and they'll last. Like, we can shoot all day without charging them. and they have a really good range. It's like 300 feet or something, and they do really well in the wind, which we have a big problem with here. So the Rode Wireless Pro are the ones we use.
This is from Rusty Lilac Farm. If you could only choose one, would you pick a freeze dryer or a greenhouse? And keep up the great videos.
Something tells me somebody's trying to make a decision here. Oh, that's a tough one.
No, it's not tough for me at all.
Okay, what is it?
Greenhouse.
Actually, that's what I would pick.
Absolutely. You can use it. You can use it longer. It is going to produce a lot of food for you. The fact that you can put a shade cloth over it and keep some of that really harsh sun off of your plants in the summer. You can grow over the winter, the cold hardy things.
Right.
A freeze dryer is really great. But if I had to choose, I would choose a greenhouse because I can still preserve my food without a freeze dryer. Right.
True. Yeah, I would agree with that. I would pick a greenhouse. I would probably do a greenhouse and a dehydrator. We love our freeze dryer. Don't get us wrong. And if you can do both, do both. But if you had to pick one, and that's what the question is, if you had to pick one, I would pick a greenhouse as well.
If you're choosing where your dollars are going to be going right now, I would choose a greenhouse.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
This question from Money Pit Homestead. Homesteads can be money pits. So
yes, they can.
Kind of right on. A question about the cheese you made a couple videos back. Can you add chopped jalapenos?
Yes, absolutely. We've added to that farm cheese recipe, like that basic recipe, we have added a ton of stuff. But yes, jalapenos is actually one of my favorite things to add. That makes it almost like a pepper jack kind of cheese. It's really good.
Yep, it is really good.
And then we pan fry it, which is actually something we learned from Rich and Shelley at Air to Ground Farms, is pan frying it.
In butter.
It is so good.
So good. Oh, here. That's a good one. Sorry, I'm kind of pre-reading them. From Grace Ortega. Hi. I have followed you for a while and have tried several of your recipes, including the cucumber relish, cowboy candy. What is your most popular recipe video?
Well, honestly, our most popular recipe video is not Sarah, it's me. It is my making crunchy bread.
Yeah.
I think that is our most popular, might be our most popular video, for sure our most popular recipe video.
Yeah.
Well, now that I said that, I don't know.
That cheese one.
You have a cheese.
The original cheese
You
one
have a cheese one that is way up there too. So I think it's the bread one.
Yeah. Do you want to do this one here?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Let's do this here.
Okay. So Jesse Mann, thank you for $10 super chat. Howdy, I love your channel. Do you have wild game as a food source? If so, what type? Yes, absolutely. In fact, it's deer season right now, so I deer hunt. In fact, this coming weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, is our first rifle season. It is for antlerless deer only. So it's a 3-day kind of short rifle season here in October. So I'll be going out rifle hunting this weekend. And then we also hunt rabbit in the winter when it's season. I think the season's in December and runs most of the winter. We shoot squirrel from time to time. So yeah, we try to take advantage of wild game when we can get it. We have a big bullfrog population in one of our ponds, so we have had frog legs. Sarah's not a big fan of them.
No.
I
would
like
eat them again if I had
like
to.
frog legs, but mostly we just let the population grow because it is a good food source just to have around.
If I was starving to death, I would definitely eat frog legs. But if I'm not starving to death, I'm not eating them.
Yeah.
We've eaten a lot of dove.
Oh yeah.
Too. Dove is very good.
Yeah. Not so much here in Missouri, but when we lived in Arizona, we ate a lot of dove. It's a good dark meat.
It is really good.
It's on my list of things, like if we get alpha gal, like dove is a good dark. It tastes like beef.
Here's an interesting question.
Uh-oh.
From Tammy Gear.
Okay.
How do you plan your weeks? My hubby and I can't find common ground. Now, we're not going to be starting arguments in marital couples here. Can't find common ground and end up disagreeing on what needs to be accomplished.
Well, I mean, that happens.
Sure.
We do the same thing, honestly. I mean, most of the time we find common ground, but we we both got things that we think are most important. We just have a list of things that we know need to get done, and we try to fit them in where we can.
Right.
For us, a lot of times it comes down to, are there certain things that can end up on videos versus things that can't end up on videos? Right. You guys don't want to watch us mow the lawn and things like that. So a lot of times it ends up being a priority for the things that we can film and put out on videos. But we kind of powwow every morning while we have coffee, kind of figure out what the day is going to hold, and then just kind of make our plan from there. So.
And generally Sunday or Monday, we kind of sit down and say, okay, what are some of the things that we want to accomplish this week? What are the things that are
the big things?
What are the things that we have to get done? Do we have appointments? Those things, do we need to run to Springfield and kind of coordinate that? We generally have set days that we film our videos and then edit those videos. So all of those things kind of get together to make our plan. And so, most of the time, not everything on the to-do list for the week gets done. And then we just transfer that to another week.
Right.
So
we have another $10 super chat from Laura Thornton. I've learned so much from you two as we start our own homestead here in Paco Pinto, Texas. You two have been a huge blessing to us. Question: what kind of cattle do you have or recommend?
Well, thank you, by the way.
Yes, thank you
so much
for the super chat. And again, we know it's going to go to good use through Samaritan's Purse. So as far as cattle, what do we have? Ours are a mix. They are a Limousin Hereford cross. Mm-hmm. So we always try to have a registered Hereford bull because we really like the temperament on Herefords. And then our cows are crossed between Limousin and Hereford. Mm-hmm. But we like the white face. In our area where it's really hot, a lot of people raise black cattle. We have found that the black cattle don't graze quite as well
in the summer.
In the summer when it's hot, they tend to like to lay under shade trees or
go in the ponds.
Or stand in the ponds, mm-hmm. where the lighter colored cattle, brown cattle, tend to be out more in the heat. Mm-hmm. At least that's observationally what we have found.
Right.
But really it comes down to the fact that we just really like this breed because they're super tame. Right. They're easy to work with, mm-hmm. and they grow really fast and bring some good money when we take them to the livestock auction or sell them.
And honestly, I don't think that we are really set on a breed. We don't have one breed that we can't live without. So we don't really have a hard and fast, recommendation about what.
We haven't raised a lot of different.
What breed?
This is all we've ever raised, so it's all we really have experience with.
We enjoy them.
Yeah.
So, this is from Jackie Stevenson. When you bring home a deer, do you process it yourself or take it to a butcher?
We process it ourselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But we try to process them as soon as we get them. Like as soon as I can find it and bring it back up to the house, we skin it, part it out, and then we put it in a fridge and let it age while we're usually for a few days before we do everything else to it. But yeah, we do deer. We do ourselves. They're pretty easy. And
honestly, it costs quite a bit to have a deer processed by the butcher.
Over $100, I think.
They're kind of small, so monetarily too, we think it's a good cost savings to just do it ourselves.
It's a great skill to have. I would suggest start with rabbits. If you've never butchered anything like that, I would start with a rabbit. I always joke and say everything is just a big rabbit. So if you know how to do a rabbit, you can do pretty much anything else, and it's just a big rabbit.
Let's see here. Dawn C., are you going to be speaking at any conferences in 2025? Well, we haven't been invited to any.
Well, kind of.
I think we kind of have a long-standing invitation from the Ozarks Homesteading Expo.
Right.
So our plan is to, Lord willing, go and be there.
Right.
And this year we were there we attended both days, Friday and Saturday.
Right.
Previous years we only came on Saturday, but this year we were able to get away both days, and we had a really great time talking with everybody. And so we really recommend that. So at this time, our intention is to probably only do that one.
Right. It's the only one that's close enough really that we can drive to and get away for just like, those that day, come back home, do our stuff and go back the following day. and we really enjoy it. And Cheryl, who organizes it, just does an amazing job. So
yeah.
We wish we could go to more that were further away. It's hard.
Not easy for us.
It's
really not easy for us. And we really do enjoy being home.
Right.
Yeah.
We're homebodies for sure.
Let's see. Oh, here's a good one.
Okay.
Anyway, I just like to talk about her anyway. From Hope Walker, love your channel and content. Did you do a collab video with Ruth Ann Zimmerman? Ruth Ann Zimmerman is a fantastic woman.
Right.
From Homesteading with the Zimmermans is their YouTube channel.
Right.
She lives in Iowa. She and her husband were raised Old Order Mennonite. We have not done a collab video.
No. We had them over for dinner recently. They were in the area and they came over for dinner and we were able to spend some time together. They are great people.
Yes, we love her, but we've not done a video collab.
No, maybe in the future.
Yeah. Mark Noon, I used lard to try to season my cast iron pans. Turns out sticky. What am I doing wrong?
You need to really, when you put it on, you let it sit for about 5 minutes, and then you need to really rub it. Like you need to rub it until it's dry again. Yeah. And you need to let it soak in because the cast iron is porous, and then you need to just rub it until it's like completely gone. If you let it sit on there and cool down, it's going to get sticky. So you need to rub it back off with a paper towel or something. And you do that several times. And once your pans are seasoned, like when you're first working with pans, you want to do it pretty much every time after you cook with them. But after you've had them for a long time, you only need to do it maybe once every couple months because they're just seasoned.
Yeah. The key really is to not let that fat sit on those pans. Wipe it off.
Right.
Wipe it off. Along the same lines, Cheryl Spiel asked, do you have a video on your cast iron, how to season, how to care for it, and do you grind it down? We do have one. We have
a couple, I think, on how to care for them that we did a long time ago. You'll have to search our channel because I don't think we have them in a playlist or anything, but if we do, I'll try to look for it.
Yeah.
We do. So we do have several videos on how to care for cast iron. We do not grind them down. I've never ground any down.
No, we never have. But speaking of Ruth Ann Zimmerman, she and her husband did a video probably a year ago or so about how they grind down. They can buy like lesser quality cast iron. And then her husband, remember his name?
No.
Elvin.
Elvin, yes.
He will grind it down.
I would say Alan, and I knew that wasn't right.
He will grind it down. And they did a video on how to do that. And a lot of people have done it and really enjoy it. We've not done that.
Right.
Our entire cast iron collection, we've just found at like rummage sales and garage sales, and we've held out for like the old brands and stuff. So we buy them already super smooth because the old. Oh, it's final question. So the older cast iron.
Yeah, I think the only thing we have up there that's new is our pizza pan.
Our pizza pan is a Lodge pizza pan, which we really like as well.
They didn't make a lot of pizza back in the 1800s, I guess.
Well, they should have. Do we have time? We have time for one more.
One more question. All right.
One more.
Well, did we miss any super chats? Let's scroll down
quick.
Let's
just check real quick. I think we did that one. Hold on.
We didn't do that one. Let's do that.
Okay. This will be the last one. Thank you, Baby Root, for your $10.
All right. So the question is, how do you coordinate together what you're going to do for the day, week, or month? Do you sit down weekly and figure out your plan? We sit down every day to figure out our plan. We sit down kind of normally on Sunday evenings to kind of figure out the kind of overview for the week. And then we talk about kind of the day-to-day kind of stuff every morning while we're having coffee. So
long term, we also, like today we were saying, like next week or the week after, we can't forget is the week to process the chickens and, so those kinds of things. And, next month this is coming up, so we have to keep that in mind. So we're not calendar people. We've tried several times. We've tried different systems to be calendar people. We just are not. And occasionally we'll write down like on a piece of paper this giant to-do list of all the things that need to be done. And sometimes that is overwhelming and kind of exhausting for us because we see all the stuff that needs to be done and it kind of makes us crazy. So weekly really is where it's at for us. Yeah.
So there you go, you guys. That is going to wrap up our live stream for today. Thank you so much for everybody who showed up. Thank you to everybody who donated. We will be matching those funds. We'll try to post a screenshot somewhere of, us so we gave the money to Samaritan's Purse. I hope you'll trust us, but we'll also try to post something if that's possible. I don't know if it is. But thank you for everybody who donated. We'll be chipping in then. I think we were over $500. So I think we'll be pitching in $500 as well. And that should go to really good use. So thank you guys. We will see you guys on the next video. We appreciate you all so much. And we just, what can I say? We really do appreciate you. You've been part of our family and we're glad to have you here in our house. So
thank you so much for stopping by our homestead. Plan on what?
Seeing you guys back here next week at 6 o'clock on Monday.
Take care. God bless.
God bless.